From a Law & Order SVU star's collapsed lung to a British stuntman's paralysis from the waist down, these are some of the small screen's ugliest onset injuries. The Good Wife is a courtroom drama that debuted in 2009. The show's creators, Michelle and Robert King, were inspired after seeing many cases of wives standing by their disgraced politician husbands after they confessed to an affair. Surprisingly, a courtroom drama made the cut for a list like this. Nevertheless, stunts aren't the only thing that could go wrong on a television set. Kristin Chenoweth was on the set of The Good Wife for an outdoor sequence when a piece of lighting production equipment fell on her head. During an appearance on Andy Cohen's Watch What Happens Live, the actress said the terrifying event practically killed her. Chenoweth also revealed in the interview that she fell unconscious instantly and woke up in a hospital bed. The horrific accident left her with a 7-inch skull fracture and broken teeth, among other injuries. The actor's doctor told her that if it hadn't been for her hair extensions, she would have died that day since they held the hairline fracture on her head together. She told Cohen that she has long-standing injuries as a result of the event and regrets not suing CBS over it. She explained,
"I didn't do it out of fear and anxiety."
Netflix had its work cut out for it when adapting Cowboy Bebop, one of the best anime shows of all time. The beloved sci-fi series has a dedicated cult following, so getting the right cast was always going to be vital. John Cho was ultimately cast as protagonist Spike Spiegel. However, Cho hurt his knee during the filming of the highly anticipated show, tearing his ACL. The ACL tissue is the muscle that links the thigh bone to the shin and is commonly torn in athletes. Cho's recuperation from his ACL injury took a toll on him, not only physically, but also mentally. In a promotional interview for the series, the actor told Vulture that he was concerned about his extended time off, primarily for how it affected the show's production. He told Vulture, "I felt very guilty that I had let the production down and my cast and the crew in New Zealand that had a job, and then they didn't the next day." It's always a daunting task for television executives to develop a police procedural that stands out from the crowd. The method 911 adopted was depending on the sheer star power of actors like Angela Bassett and Peter Krause, while bringing in talented guest stars to support them. UFC and WWE star Ronda Rousey was one such guest. However, Rousey's guest appearance did not go as planned, as she sustained a gruesome injury while filming. Rousey described the event in a social media post, revealing that on the very first take on a specific day, her finger was crushed by a boat door and nearly severed.
Yeah, I looked down and my finger was barely hanging on.
While showing a picture of the injury, Rousey wrote in the caption of an Instagram post, "I thought I just jammed my fingers, so I finished the take before looking. After a break in the action, I told our director the situation and was rushed via ambulance to the hospital where they promptly reattached my bone and tendon with a plate and screws." Rousey went on to praise the medical team that worked on her finger, revealing that 50% of normal motion had returned within 3 days of her surgery. Prison Break debuted in 2005 and quickly became a cultural phenomenon. The drama morphed into a sort of travel show, with the main characters being pulled into an ever-growing government conspiracy that forces them into different prisons all over the world. In Season 5, a conspiracy leads the gang to Yemen. During the shooting of an action scene, an iron bar fell from 20 feet and struck Dominic Purcell in the head, leaving him seriously injured. He told Deadline, "I dropped to my knees and I was in shock. I'm just leaning over and the blood is just pouring out like a shower. And my stunt guy came up beside me and he said, 'Your head split right open. I can see your skull. Your nose is on the other side of your face.'" Because they were shooting in a remote part of Morocco, the kind of medical assistance he needed wasn't immediately available. When the doctors at the local clinic he was taken to started arguing amongst themselves, he walked out. As Purcell explained to Deadline, his girlfriend then took control of the situation. He told the outlet, "She poured alcohol on my head and wrapped me up in gauze, and then Fox got a helicopter and they flew me out of Ouarzazate to Casablanca." He was taken to a renowned plastic surgeon in Casablanca who was able to fix him up. The actor was lucky to escape the ordeal with his life, but he still has visible scars on his scalp to this day.
That's where the white of my skull was showing.
Mariska Hargitay has starred as Olivia Benson in over 500 episodes of Law & Order Special Victims Unit. Not every episode has been a joy to film for Hargitay, but one led to a very serious injury. She recalled during an interview with Redbook, "I was doing a stunt chasing a bad guy. I jumped and landed on pads, but on the second take something happened. I just landed wrong. I got up and felt that something inside was not quite right." The actor shrugged it off as a muscle injury, and she seemed to get better. However, 3 months later, she was walking on the beach when she suddenly experienced an intense stabbing pain in her chest and was unable to catch her breath. The actress revealed to Redbook, "They took an x-ray and found that my right lung was 50% collapsed. I began to panic. I was so scared. I had a procedure hoping to stave off more serious surgery, but it didn't work, and I ended up in surgery about 2 weeks later." Hargitay was told that the repaired lung was now healthier than her other lung, but that there was still about a 1 in 1,000 chance that it would collapse again. Despite those seemingly favorable odds, however, her lung collapsed once again. However, she isn't bitter about it. The actress told Redbook, "I get to be the 1 in 1,000 in so many positive ways it balances out. I have so many blessings, and I've learned from all of my experiences and my losses." As Stephen Amell's tenure on Arrow ended, fans hoped that his next project would capitalize on his abilities as a physical actor with considerable dramatic chops. When the trailer for Heels was released, it promised to do just that in an inventive way. The show is about a wrestler in a small town attempting to build a wrestling dynasty. The nature of the show meant that Amell would have to do a lot of physical stuff, thus putting himself in potential danger. It wasn't long before he picked up a nasty injury. Amell told ABC, "I overshot it coast to coast on our first day of filming wrestling stuff and suffered a compression fracture. I'm very fortunate and lucky that it was an injury that sounds scary but didn't require surgery. It just sort of healed on its own. It was a terrifying moment not just for him, but for everyone involved in the production." The actor told ABC, "I certainly scared a lot of people." Amell developed a huge respect for professional wrestlers while making the show. He went on to say that he has no intention of swapping his comfortable life as an actor for the grind of the pro wrestling circuit anytime soon. Jackass was once the most contentious show on television. The show's concept stems back to the 1990s when Johnny Knoxville was trying to break into Hollywood. He couldn't find acting work, so he turned to journalism. While attempting a career in journalism, Knoxville intended to put together an article about himself testing self-defense equipment. When Jeff Tremaine, the editor of a skateboard magazine, heard about the idea, he asked if he could film it. Knoxville was introduced to a bunch of like-minded skaters, and Jackass was born. The MTV show went on to be a massive success, but with a concept like that, serious injuries are inevitable. Knoxville told Entertainment Weekly, "I have so many doctors in my phone. I have to go for a tune-up with one doctor or another at least once a month now." The actor and stuntman sustained so many injuries during his Jackass days that it's a wonder he's still walking. From herniated discs and torn tendons to serious concussions, Knoxville has been through it all.
My left eye popped out of its socket, and it was, the more I blew, the farther it was coming, and so that freaked me out.
In his Entertainment Weekly interview, Knoxville admitted, "Sometimes after a concussion, you get a little down, but it kind of works itself out. I feel like I'm very strong physically and mentally. I'm very lucky. It doesn't always work out like this for a man who's had the amount of injuries that I've had." Ozzy Osbourne first gained notoriety in the 1970s as the lead singer of the British rock band Black Sabbath. Osbourne's fame went beyond the band as his antics made him notorious in the tabloids. In the early 2000s, MTV capitalized on Osbourne's celebrity by greenlighting a reality show about him and his family. The Osbournes didn't shy away from revealing big life events, such as Sharon's cancer battle. One such significant event was the quad bike accident that injured Ozzy. Osbourne was riding his quad bike on the grounds of the family's estate in England when he hit some uneven ground and was thrown from the vehicle. Osbourne's bodyguard, Sam Rustin, told ABC, "As the bike's tumbling and he's tumbling, he actually somehow gets entangled in the bike, and he's rolling with the bike. I turned him over and I put my head on his chest, and I hear no breath, no heartbeat, nothing." Rustin performed mouth-to-mouth on Osbourne. When the rocker finally came around, he was immediately transported to a hospital. Doctors found that one of Osbourne's lungs was partially collapsed and several bones were damaged. 8 of Osbourne's ribs, some of his vertebrae, and his left collarbone were all fractured. In 2019, he revealed that he was still feeling the after effects of the accident. In an interview with SiriusXM, Osbourne revealed, "For the last 10 years, I've been getting electric shocks down my arm." At this point in history, Simon Cowell's standing in pop culture is more related to his reputation as a caustic judge on numerous talent programs than to his actual day job as a record label head. However, few fans are aware that Cowell himself was once a contestant on an obscure talent show called Sale of the Century. His fondness for the format, along with his notion that controversy garners attention, inspired Cowell to create the Got Talent franchise. Since then, the Got Talent franchise has spawned over 100 spin-offs. America's Got Talent Extreme was one such spin-off. The concept was the same as in previous incarnations, with a combination of the judges, host, and viewers voting for their favorite contestant. The only difference was that this version contained daredevil stunts. However, a horrific accident on the set resulted in the show being suspended indefinitely in 2021, with Cowell pulling the plug soon after. Jonathan Goodwin, an experienced British stunt performer, had been in several UK television shows before competing on America's Got Talent Extreme. He was crushed between 2 automobiles after his stunt on America's Got Talent Extreme went tragically wrong. As a result, Goodwin was paralyzed from the waist down.
The prognosis is that unless there's some sort of amazing thing that happens, that this is me from here on out.
But Goodwin is doing his best to maintain a positive attitude. During an appearance on Loose Women, he had this to say, "I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but I think that with all the physical challenges I've had in my life, I'm uniquely adapted to dealing with it."